This week on 0 Day Sense Nonsense, I installed a VPN, so I'm invisible now. Hackers can't find me, scammers can't fool me, malware can't hurt me, the government thinks I live in Switzerland, Netflix thinks I'm in Canada, and my internet provider has been reduced to staring sadly at an encrypted blob. I've done it. I've completed cybersecurity. At least that's what half of the VPN ads on YouTube seem to suggest. You've seen the pitch. Somebody opens a laptop on public Wi-Fi, a mysterious hacker appears 3 tables away, and the only thing standing between this poor person and complete financial ruin is a discount code from a cooking channel. They turn on the VPN, the little shield goes green, and cybercrime is defeated for 70% off. VPNs are useful. I use them. Businesses use them. But here's the important thing to understand before we go any further. A VPN protects a connection. It doesn't protect you from the entire internet. It can encrypt traffic between you and the VPN server. It can hide a normal IP address. It can reduce what the network you're on and your internet provider can see about where traffic is going. What it can't do is stop you from giving your password to a phishing site, downloading malware, or making generally questionable decisions on the internet. That's the whole episode. Now let's talk about why advertising makes that sound way more magical than it actually is. So what does a VPN actually do? Well, a VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, which sounds a lot more mysterious than it actually is. At a basic level, it creates an encrypted connection, usually called a tunnel, between your device and a VPN server. Without a consumer VPN, your traffic normally leaves your device through your router and internet provider on its way to whatever service you're using. With a VPN turned on, that traffic first goes through the encrypted tunnel to the VPN provider's server, then exits onto the wider internet from there. So websites usually see the VPN server's public IP address instead of the one from your house. Think of your public IP like the return address your internet connection presents to the outside world. A VPN swaps that return address for the VPN servers. That's real. That can be useful, but it doesn't mean you've vanished. You've changed the route your traffic takes and which company sits in the middle of that route. That's a networking feature. It's not witness protection. And public Wi-Fi is probably one of the most famous VPN sales pitches. You're at a coffee shop, you open your bank account, somewhere nearby, a man in a hoodie immediately begins stealing your retirement. That risk wasn't invented out of nowhere. Years ago, much more web traffic moved around without encryption. Being on an untrusted network could expose information much more easily, but the web changed. Most major websites now use HTTPS, which means the connection between your browser and the website is already encrypted. So if you're on coffee shop Wi-Fi and you visit your bank's real HTTPS website, somebody sitting near you can't generally watch your password fly across the network because you forgot to activate a VPN. But that doesn't mean public Wi-Fi is magically safe. You can still join a fake network. You can still visit a fake website. You can still ignore the giant browser warning telling you something is wrong. But the old image of every coffee shop broadcasting everyone's password in plain text is outdated. A VPN adds another layer of protection around the connection, and that's good. But it isn't the only encryption doing the work anymore. HTTPS has been quietly carrying a lot of this conversation while the VPN ad takes all the credit. Another thing is, a VPN doesn't automatically make you anonymous. And this is where the marketing really gets ahead of itself. A VPN can hide your home IP address from a website, but that doesn't mean the website has no idea who you are. If you turn a VPN on and then log into Facebook, Facebook still knows it's you. You told them. If you log into Google, Amazon, your bank account, or your email, changing your IP address doesn't automatically erase the account you just authenticated into. Websites can also recognize users through cookies, account activity, and now we get into the Forcefield problem. Let's say you get an email that looks like it's from Microsoft. It says your account's about to be disabled, so you click the link and type your password into a fake login page. The VPN will securely encrypt your journey to the scammer's website. Excellent work, everybody. The connection was protected, but the decision was not. And the same thing applies to malware. If you download a malicious attachment and run it, the VPN doesn't jump out of the system tray and slap the file away. It also doesn't fix unpatched computers or stop a company from tracking what you're doing while you're logged into its service. That's the real distinction. A protected connection to a malicious destination is still a connection to a malicious destination. And there's another part of VPNs that doesn't fit nicely into the 30-second sponsorship read. Trust. Without a VPN, your internet provider sits in a powerful position because your traffic passes through its network. With a VPN, the provider sees a lot less what's happening inside the encrypted tunnel, but now the VPN company operates the server where the traffic exits. You didn't remove the middleman, you just picked a different middleman and gave them a subscription fee. That doesn't make VPN providers bad, but it does make choosing the right one matter more. The VPN company can know your source IP because you have to connect to it, and depending on the service or configuration, it may even have access to the connection metadata or information about destinations. When the final website uses HTTPS, the VPN provider generally can't just read the encrypted content between your browser and that website, but it still sits in a privileged position. And that's why I'm skeptical of random free VPNs. Running VPN infrastructure costs money. If you aren't paying for the product, it's worth figuring out who is and what that company's privacy policy says it can collect or share. We also have to talk about military-grade encryption. This phrase shows up constantly because it sounds incredible. You're not checking email anymore, you're operating a submarine. Now, the encryption itself may be completely legitimate. Modern VPN protocols can use very strong, well-established cryptography. But military grade doesn't tell you whether the VPN app is secure, whether the provider is keeping logs, whether your account can be taken over, or whether the company's privacy claims are accurate. Strong encryption protects the tunnel, but it doesn't compensate for every bad decision around it. And this is where advertising can become genuinely misleading. Some VPN subscriptions bundle in things like malicious site blocking, ad blocking, breach alerts, and other security features. And those can be useful, but those are separate capabilities with separate limitations. The fact that a VPN subscription includes malware filtering does not mean the VPN tunnel itself makes malware harmless. That distinction matters. Now, after all of this, I want to be really clear. VPNs are not useless. I'm going to say it again. VPNs are not useless. A consumer VPN can be useful when you're on a network that you don't trust. It can hide your normal public IP address from services that you visit. It can reduce what the local network and internet provider can learn about the destinations inside the tunnel. And it can also make traffic appear to come from another location. I know all you Netflix users have personally done this. And businesses use VPNs for even more important reasons. A company VPN can give remote employees encrypted access to internal systems that aren't directly exposed to the internet. In that case, the goal isn't pretending to be somebody who lives in Sweden. The goal is securely connecting to company resources. These are the real use cases. Use VPNs for problems they actually solve. And now that we've successfully demystified virtual private networks, it's time for this week's recurring segment, Things Security Says. First, HTTPS already encrypts most web traffic. What everyone hears is, public Wi-Fi is completely safe and I can click anything now. What security actually means is, the modern web has more encryption than the VPN advertisement would like you to remember. Next, you're shifting trust to the VPN provider. What everyone hears is, never trust any company ever again. What security actually means is, maybe research the company before routing your internet connection to its servers. And lastly, a VPN doesn't make you anonymous. What everyone hears is, security is ruining the product I already paid for. What security actually means is, changing your IP address doesn't erase your accounts, it doesn't erase cookies, it doesn't erase browser history, and it doesn't erase your entire online identity. The VPN is not a force field. It's an encrypted tunnel. Tunnels are useful, but you can still drive one directly into a phishing page. Okay, but seriously, if you're already using a VPN, you don't need to uninstall it solely because some tired security guy on YouTube complained about the marketing. Just use it as one layer. You still need updates, unique passwords, MFA, and enough skepticism to not type your credentials into whatever login page showed up on an email. And choose the provider carefully. Look for a clear privacy policy, independent audits, modern protocols, transparent ownership, and a business model that actually makes sense. Be skeptical of absolute claims. No security product should ever promise you that you're completely invisible or safe from every hacker. Security doesn't work like that. Every tool covers part of the problem, and the VPN covers the connection. The little green shield can protect your traffic, but it cannot protect you from yourself. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of 0 Day Since Nonsense. For this week's audience question, what's the most ridiculous or misleading claim that you've heard in a VPN advertisement? Leave your answers in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.